Welcome to the Game Layer. I'm your host Carmilla, but you could call me Cammy. We got all the details figured out, so the next thing to do is to build a prototype to make sure that it all works the way we want it to. Start off with a sheet of double corrugated. When I talk about the tiles, I'm going to talk about not number of inches across, but number of squares. So these are going to be 4 squares across, even though the tile itself is going to be 5 inches. So if I'm talking about inches, I'll specify inches. This one is inches because it was a mock-up, so I did inches instead of the 1.25 inches. For every tile, I'm going to cut out the full 4x4 and then trim off what I need. I feel like that will be easier as far as figuring out how many I can cut out of a particular sheet of cardboard. Just takes a couple passes. I think I'm going to do what most people, or what I see a lot of people online doing, and that is to cut the first one using my straight edge to guide the knife on the first. Just the first pass. Every other pass, the cardboard will kind of guide the knife. I didn't do a very good job of cutting that one straight, but whatever. We're going to do one of these numbers, so I need to take off. I suppose I probably could have just measured it 3. No, whatever.
Whatever.
I think I'm going to be better at eyeballing this. Keep messing it up when I use the ruler. And then since we're doing the angles, I gotta cut these 2 out as well. So we're gonna need a 3/4 inch wall to go across the top here, so we might as well use this piece right here. I'm gonna cut these 3/4 inch as well. So I've got, so I don't have scrap or too much wastage. This would have definitely been easier if I cut it out of like a full size big old strip of 3/4 inch, rather than trying to cut these little tiny pieces. I'm gonna need a couple more, but for right now, we'll glue down what we have. For the mock-ups, I used PVA glue on everything, which was another reason I didn't build them on camera, because it wouldn't have looked the best. So these I should have cut along the corrugation and not this way, so we're going to toss that, not use it. Oh, that looks awful. I'm not going to use that one.
Get out!
For these, we're actually going to need, because the cardboard is 1.25 inch thick, if I run just up to the edge there, make them only 1.25 inches, then there's going to be a gap right here. So we're actually going to need one piece that is 1.5 inches, so the walls line up. So let's see, what do we need? We need 2 that are 1.5 inches and 2 that are 1.25 inches, so that's 3 inches, 2.5, no, yeah, 2.5, 3, 4, 5 inches. Well, yeah, because, no, I think it's actually 5.5. You know what, why don't I measure it? 1.5 plus 1.5 is 3. 5, yeah, 5.5. Cutting from the middle because I noticed that it was kind of mangling just the edge. It'd be easier to use the scissors to clean up these edges. And now we have some overlap, so So the walls are lined up. We'll line up. We'll do this one first. We'll do the long ones first, and then the shorter ones. Glad I drew the grid on first, because it really shows me, it's a good guide on how best to line stuff up. And fuck it, we'll do one of the short ones now. Get it evened out. Put glue on the inside also so that the wall pieces stick to each other. Make sure I see what I'm doing. It's important for you to see what I'm doing, but I think it's more important for me to see what I'm doing. I don't know how in Wylock's videos, he makes working with double corrugated seem so easy, but I imagine it's probably practice on his part. Even his early videos, they look incredibly, I don't want to say clean, but practiced. These interior end pieces where the corrugation is showing, these pieces right here are going to be covered up when we do the wattle and daub insides. Or I say should, because I haven't done this yet, but I'm digging this. I like the way it looks. It seems like it should be nice and sturdy. Yeah, they've got some heft to them. You know what? Let's go ahead and do the other thing that I wanted to do. I'm concerned that because these are cardboard, and they're going to have a bunch of mouth-breathing gamers over them, that they're going to get blown around. So let's see. Took a bit of force, but let's put something in there anyway. Ugh. That's what these pennies are for. I figure we can aim to have a penny on the ends, wherever the ends happen to be. Because they're going to go out at least in the middle, even like the big 4x4 tile. Maybe not. Well, whatever. It doesn't matter. We'll see what's going on. These pennies may prove unnecessary, but we'll see. That's the point of prototyping. That's very sturdy. Took way more work. All right, cool. Let's put in our interior details first. We need to do the walls before we do the floor tiles, and you'll see why in a minute. Okay, so what do we need? We need 5 inches. We'll just cut the 5-inch one first. It's not enough. Now this has a crease where the box was assembled. I think that's going to mess with us, so I'm just going to cut that part right out. This big long section is for the long section of the wall, and I'm going to do just a bunch of other shorter strips to be the verticals. I think for the long walls, I think I want to do it rather than every square. I think I want to do it every 2 squares. I feel like that would look better. I'm not worrying too much, just as long as they're roughly the size I want. Or roughly straight, I mean. Unlike me, ha ha ha. they're a little off, it might actually add to the authenticity of the wattle and daub, that it wasn't like super well crafted or whatever. Ah, I cut these too short or too narrow, didn't I? Or did I cut this one too big? I think I cut this one too big. Because they're supposed to be 1/4 of an inch. Yeah, I cut this one way too wide. Just trim it down. I was going to say because it might look like it was a little more unrefined construction, but then I thought, like, the von Zarovich family is supposed to be like super rich and whatnot, so I feel like they would pay for a really good craftsperson. I'm concerned that it's going to spill out and we're going to have the little beads. There's one of them. Alright. Now we'll do the vertical. Oh, I forgot the base wire down here. Alright, well, some more cutting. And this one, we want to make sure we line right up at the edge. The rest can overflow, it's fine.
Don't worry about it.
I didn't do a very good job placing this one. You can see it's up against up away from the corner of the floor, and there's quite a bit of a gap in here. So, practice. I'm using my finger as a guide up here to make sure that it's up against the corner and we don't get a gap like we did on that side. Still coming up away from the floor a little bit, so let's try a steeper angle. Oh, that's better. Rather than going flat and then up, I went much more diagonal. Yeah, see, that one ended up a lot closer to the floor. Vertical beams. Ah, and I just crushed the cardboard, so I guess I gotta be more careful. Trying to get these as straight as I can. I'm only sort of succeeding. Which I suppose is fitting for someone like me.
Get out! Out!
I thought about doing the post and beams on the ends here. To kind of the same way I did on the corners here. But then I decided that that's going to add, one, it's going to add thickness to it so the grid might get interfered with. But also I kind of want to just keep it clean. So I'm going to do the entire outside black. I'm going to do the entire outside black because it kind of tricks the brain into ignoring it as like a dead space. So the players will only focus on the interior details and make those pop a bit more. Alright. Now we'll start trimming the edges. The last step for cutting and gluing is going to be cladding. So we're going to need strips that are 1/4 of an inch wide. Just mark out a bunch that are 3/4 or 1/4 of an inch. I'm using the cut edge of the bag to help me line up my line. Why don't I just get a fucking pen? Why am I like this? Got pens like right behind me within reach. You know what? I'm going to put the glue on this. That'll probably be a lot easier than the way I was doing it before. I tried out another methodology of individual floor tiles, of square ones rather than the mitered or the more stone looking. I think these look really good for some sort of cave build, but that's not what we're doing. I ended up not liking this as much, which was disappointing, so we are going to go with this one. The top of the double height ones, the top at 1 inch looks a little small, so the ones that I cut are 1 inch or 1 1/8 inch. While this was drying, I cut out all the pieces that we're going to need. Are you supposed to be doing that? You don't go off in the corner expecting to not be able to see you, dipshit. What, are you seriously going back and doing it again? Cat likes to attack the corner of the rug. It's a relatively expensive rug. He lays it down on the side like this, puts his feet under it, and then kicks the shit out of it. Super obnoxious. Charles, I am watching you. First things first, we're going to take all of these and glue them to all of these. To keep things interesting, I'm actually going to crack one of them ahead of time. And now we glue. The only problem I find myself having is getting them lined up correctly, because it dries so fast. Done. None of these tiles or none of these spaces is the 1 1/4 inches across, so we will need to trim them down, but it's easy enough. Just put it over, make a little mark. And chop that part off. I'm going to do all but 2 of these in the same way. And now we glue them down. Just a little dab. The difference with these ones is we need to cut off just the corner. So I'll dry fit it, it's a little big. And then just cut that corner off. Next up, we base coat.